What's the dumbest thing you've done to impress a crush? I pretended to be bad at math for 6 months, just to impress a guy who barely passed algebra. I know how dumb that sounds. But when you're 16, hormonal, and hopelessly obsessed with a boy who smells like axe and bad decisions, logic doesn't always win. It started when I got paired with Josh Mason in geometry class. Josh, aka, the human calculator's worst nightmare. I was top of the class, but the day we got seated together, I heard him mutter, "Ugh, I always get stuck with the nerds." So naturally, my brain short-circuited, and I did the most unnerdy thing possible, I bombed the quiz. On purpose. I stared at the paper, drew little dinosaurs in the margins, and turned it in with only one answer filled out. Mrs. Lin, our teacher, looked like she'd witnessed a murder. I had never gotten below a 98 in my life. And that day, I scored a 12. But Josh looked over, smirked, and went, "Rough day, huh?" I nodded and said, "I just don't get math." That was the beginning of the dumbest commitment of my academic life. I spent the next week fumbling equations, pretending fractions were a foreign language, and letting Josh explain things I already knew backward and in binary. He started calling me his math buddy. He even offered to tutor me, at his house. I started studying how to act dumb. I'd literally solve problems in my head and then pretend I didn't understand PEMDAS. I'd giggle and go, "Wait, is that the one with the little lines?" I was method acting at this point. Daniel Day-Lewis could never. And it worked. Josh thought I was adorable. He called me cute but clueless. Once he even said, "You're like, really smart at feelings, you know." My friends staged an intervention. They couldn't handle watching me throw away my GPA for a boy who thought Pythagoras was a Pokemon. But I was too deep in the bit. Soon enough, it wasn't just Josh. The whole class assumed I was bad at math. Mrs. Lin stopped calling on me. My mom started Googling tutors. I had to fake my way through group projects, pop quizzes, and parent-teacher conferences. I wrote an entire fake math journal for an extra credit assignment, complete with wrong answers and heartfelt reflections like, "I think numbers are just not my thing but I'm trying," smiley face. Then came the math competition. Every year, the school picked the top 3 students for the regional math league. And guess what? I wasn't picked. Josh was. He turned to me and went, "Kinda sucks, right? But I guess it's for the best. I mean, you're just not wired for numbers." And that broke me. I went home that night and stared at my old trophies. My mathlete medals. The framed photo of me in 6th grade holding a calculator like it was the Holy Grail. All because I wanted a boy who thought trigonometry was low-key a scam. So I did something I hadn't done in 6 months. I aced a test. Perfect score. Clean. No mistakes. I even showed my work. Mrs. Lin lost her mind. She called me after class and said, "Did you cheat?" I looked her dead in the eyes and said, "No. I just stopped pretending to be dumb." Josh didn't take it well. He stopped texting me. Said I lied to him. Which, fair. But then, something unexpected happened. The girl who took my spot at the math competition dropped out last minute. Mrs. Lin asked me to fill in. I went. I won. And as I stood on that stage, holding the trophy, someone in the crowd yelled, "Wait, isn't that the girl who thought decimals were a scam?" Yeah. That was Josh. My final report card that year had an A+ in geometry, and a sticky note from Mrs. Lin that said, "Glad to have you back." So yeah. I pretended to be bad at math to get a boy. In the end, I got a trophy, a scholarship offer, and 0 texts from Josh. But hey, at least now I know I'm cute, clueless, and calculating.